Emmy-winning actress Tracey Bregman is best known for her role as Lauren Fenmore on the CBS soap opera Young and Restless, and Bold and Beautiful, and Days of Our Lives. Tracey was born in Munich, Germany, and began her acting career in the late 1970s while quickly gaining recognition in the soap opera world. Her portrayal of Lauren Fenmore has earned her multiple Daytime Emmy Award nominations, including a win for Outstanding Actress in a Drama Series. In addition to her work on daytime television, Bregman has appeared in various films, TV projects throughout her career. When she's not shooting, she has a horse farm in Nashville and raises and lives with 22 horses, a sheep, a mini donkey, and she brought her little baby with her today, who you're going to meet in a second, Ivy. She's written hunter jumpers and dressage throughout her life. She loves spending time with her 2 sons and 2 stepdaughters and all of her horses, and of course, with her best friend, me. Roll it, please.
I was 19 when I started, and I thought, you know, this is going to be the greatest summer gig ever.
Yes. Mrs. Chancellor.
35 years. All the cat fights that I had with Kimberlyn Brown. We did the first music video.
Love me tonight.
We had so much fun, and then of course we tried to compete with how big our hair would be. Then Doug Davidson. We just had this really strong emotional connection. Our storylines were wild and woolly and fun, and we just stuck together. They used to call us the instigators. Peter Barton, just a wonderful, wonderful guy. And then, of course, we go to the great love of Lauren and Michael and Christian LeBlanc, another one of my favorite people on earth. Sometimes I come to work and I think, what do I do for a living? What am I gonna do today? But it's always fun, and it's always different.
All right, you guys, let's give a big leap welcome to Tracey Bregman.
Happy Sunday, everyone. This is Ivy, one of my rescues. I have 11 of them, 11 rescues. Here we go.
All right. So Tracey and I have this joke, which I'll let her tell, because she's probably better at it than I am.
So we have known each other and been friends for 32 years. We always say that we've been married, but not to each other. We've been divorced, but not from each other. We've had children, but not with each other. But we have held hands through it all.
We really have. And I'll tell you something. She's literally one of my closest friends in life. We talk pretty much every day. And it's really amazing. I'm going to teach you guys about mastermind groups. And the great thing about having a mastermind group is having a group of people who know you so intimately well that they can actually give you great advice in life and kind of help you see your blind spots in life. And we do that for each other, and it's invaluable, you know. I met Tracey through a patient of mine who had come in and was working with Tracey, and Tracey needed a dentist, and she talked to this person, and we've hit it off and have been best friends for, like she said, 32 years. It's crazy.
Yeah, 32 years.
So let's go back to the beginning of your career. You know, how did you end up in showbiz?
Well, that's interesting because both my parents were in the business. My mother was an actress for years, and she did all the old shows like Zorro and Gunsmoke, and I grew up in London, England, so she was on The Saint with Roger Moore. Roger Moore was one of the original James Bond. And my father started a music company called Verve Records, and he brought over some of the greats in jazz, and he arranged and conducted, and he toured with Eddie Fisher. And then when we went to London, he became head of specials for ITV. Back in those days, there were only 3 channels, maybe 4, in London, and that was BBC One, BBC Two, and ITV. And he ran specials for ITV. So I always say that I was born, and we didn't make it back to the apartment. I went straight to a set. And my father really taught me how to produce. And I spent years being in edit bays with him and holding his script. And he started to do a pilot called Rene and the Proteins, this big star from Montreal, Rene Simard. And all the actors and singers were all around my age. I was 12, 13 at the time. And I thought, they're having a lot of fun. And I'm holding a script. Maybe I should try the other side. And so the first thing I got to do was I was a hand model. That's how I started for the Sunshine Family for Mattel. And then I became the Applejacks girl for 2 years. And my first audition was for Days of Our Lives for a 2-day role. And I stayed there for 2.5 years. Did a bunch of movies, nothing memorable. and then did a nighttime series called The Family Tree. And then when I was 19 years old, my executive producer from Days of Our Lives, who had given me my break there, was over at Young and Restless. And he said, actually, he drove up into my driveway. It was one of those. And he said, hey, do you want to do a soap again? And my nighttime series had just been canceled. And I said, maybe for the summer. And you saw on the video, I said, this is going to be the greatest summer gig ever. And it's been 41 years. So I got really lucky.
And they keep bringing her back again and again and again. And it's crazy because, I'll call her up. I said, Tracey, what are you doing? Oh, I have 20 pages of script to learn. If I had to memorize 20 pages, I'd be 115 years old when I finally did it. And she can just, it's like a muscle.
It is a muscle, but the difference is that you retain things, for what you do. You had to learn it and hold on to it, where I learn it and I have to dump it. And the only problem is that in my life, as you know, I don't remember things until about the 3rd time you tell me. So I always tell new friends, do not get offended. I will not remember a thing about you till about the 3rd time you tell me. And my boyfriend will tell you it's around the 5th time, but I'm going to hold to 3.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. They just did a legacy special on Tracey's entire career on The Young and the Restless. And she literally had, 38 pages of...
75.
75 pages of script that she had to learn. And she did it,
I wasn't sure. I really wasn't sure. Everyone said, how have you learned this? I was like, I don't know yet. Wait till I get in front of the camera.
Can you imagine having to learn 75 pages? And they don't let you, waver. You have to pretty much say it verbatim because that's the way the writers write it.
Exactly. So it's a challenge every single day. I have loved my job because of that. It's always discovering something new. I would never think that, oh yeah, I know how to do this 100%, ever. I always feel like I'm striving for better. I will watch my work, which is really, really hard to do. But I learn every time I watch myself. I was like, oh, I was thinking this, but it didn't show on camera. What more can I do? I still go to class. I still work with teachers. I feel that if we stop learning, we stop growing. And we want to grow no matter what our age is. We want to go deeper. We want to learn more about ourselves and more about our job. Look at you. I mean, you honestly could have stopped at the sale of the company,
But
you
I love
didn't.
what I do.
Right. We're very similar, and we're always like, okay, look what I've created. Of course, mine is usually animal related, and
Mine's people related.
right.
But you know what? One of the main things that I wanted to talk about with Tracey is something that I really feel she's mastered in a way that you seldom see. And that's that she never sacrificed being a mom for her job. And I know that in today's world, it's hard. Until men can actually be pregnant and bear children, it's a thing that women are if they want to be a mother, are bound to do. And I really admire the way that Tracey's been able to not only have such a successful career, but also she's literally one of the best moms I've ever seen in my life. I mean, her kids completely and totally adore her. And I'd really like to spend a little time talking about how you were able to balance that while being on a soap opera that filmed almost every day.
Right. It was quite a challenge, and it was truly a balance. But the one thing that I knew from the very beginning that I can even remember is I wanted to do two things: be a mom and act. And somehow I got lucky enough to get a job where they asked me to bring my kids to work, which back when I was having kids, that was unheard of. The one thing is I didn't get the long paid maternity leave. In fact, I had a 1-week maternity leave with my first son and 4 weeks with the second, which, is very, very quick. But the fact that I got to bring them to work was so helpful. But working 4 and 5 days a week, learning 20 to 40 pages of dialogue every night, and balancing, I have 2 stepdaughters that I helped raise, I should say, that were 2 and 5 when I met them, and I was 22 years old. I would always say to the kids, I'm owed about 8 years of sleep, because that was the one thing that was sacrificed. But I had the kids, and I wanted to raise my children, which is also a challenge in a 2-income house when, sometimes that's not possible. But I was very, very lucky, and I also was room mother for 12 years straight, which when you have sons, you have to have the teachers indebted to you. You had girls who were sweet and perfect. So it was very important. And the teachers were amazing as well, because unless it was an actual holiday, they planned all the parties around the days that I wasn't working, so I could be there 100% and plan everything and help them completely.
So people often say to me, Doc, how do you do everything that you do? I mean, you run a business, you're a dad, you do
And an
lead.
incredible dad.
Thank you.
An incredible
But
dentist.
and I always say I hire really great help and support. I mean, there's no way that I could do what I do. Like Sinette runs my dental office. She could almost do dentistry. That's how good she is. My ex-wife Evelyn, who you'll probably meet here, helps run my family. We're still best friends. I mean, there are a lot of people. Sam, my dental assistant, or my personal assistant, who you will meet here, runs all of my personal things, my travel, my engagements, my this. So I have a team of people around me that help support me and give me the ability to do the things that kind of only I can do. But I couldn't do them if I had to do all these other things.
Exactly. It's very important. Like I always say, and I've told my sons from the beginning, know your audience, play to your strengths. So what are my strengths? You would probably think acting. My strength is making money and spending money. Everything in between, I'm a little iffy on. And that is why I have my team, because I can't do a lot of the stuff that's in between. But I know that I can make money and I know I can spend it. So it's finding that balance. It's finding the right people that will be there for you, but sign every check and always read the fine print. And I have caught many, many things, not only for myself, but for friends who have me read a lot of their legal stuff, which you wouldn't think, oh, she's the one you send your legal contracts to. But I have found a lot of things because no one is going to look out for you better than you.
That is so true. You know, I showed you pictures of my mentors. I showed you a picture of my grandpa Arthur. My grandpa Arthur was a genius businessman. And he said to me, nobody ever signs your checks but you.
Correct.
And he's right. I mean, I have a whole team of accountants. Nobody sends a check except me. And you want to know something crazy? Every time I get a pile of checks, there's one or two of them that we're not supposed to even be paid. Right. You know, nobody will ever care about your money as much as you do. I had the craziest thing happen last year. I fortunately got it back, but I had $190,000 taken out of my bank account because these hackers hacked my email so brilliantly that they started sending emails to my business manager telling her to wire $190,000 to this KK construction company that I didn't even know about. And one day, I'm on the phone with her. It's right before Christmas. I said, hey, I just want to, wish you happy holidays, make sure everything's good. She goes, yeah, but Doc, you're almost out of money in your personal account. I'm like, how can I be out of money? I put $200,000 in there. She goes, well, yeah, and then you had me wire $190,000 to KK Construction. I said, I did not.
I can't believe you got it back. That's unbelievable.
Well, you know who paid me back? Her firm.
Oh.
They had an insurance policy. I did not get it back. Bank of America stinks. I called them. They're like, we're sorry. There's nothing we could do.
Yeah, because once they wire funds, that's it.
Right. And they had strict instructions never to wire funds without my verbal authorization. And this was the one time in working with this company for 15 years that they did not call me because they had at least 5 or 6 emails from my personal email. They actually hacked my email, so it came directly from me saying, you don't need to call me, you don't need it, and they went ahead and they wired it. And I showed them the paper where you said read the fine print. I said, it says in my contract with you that you are never to wire funds without my permission, and they ended up refunding every single penny of that $190,000.
Well, that's why I have cash flow sent to me at the end of every week, because I get so concerned about things like this. And I get nervous even when the bank calls me. I'm like, is it really the bank? Who is it? Because of all these things that have happened.
Right. And there's the craziest things happen with AI now where, you get a phone call from somebody and you pick it up and you say, hello, hello, hello. They capture your voice and they can then replicate your voice. And so I have a code word with my kids where if, they've done these weird things with AI where, you'll go, your daughter's just been in an accident, she's in the hospital, and we need like $200,000, like crazy stuff. So I have a secret code word with my kids where if ever somebody calls as my daughter, I always ask them what the code word is.
Oh, that's very, very smart.
You guys should do that too.
Yeah, no, I'm
Get it?
calling my kids as we get up. Yeah.
No, because they can do that. It's crazy.
No, that's crazy.
What do you think in your entire professional career, besides balancing being a mom with your career, has been the biggest challenge for you?
I have to say, every single day. You would think all these years that I've been doing it, my first contract was when I was 14 years old. It's every day. It's how can I make each show, each episode, every scene better than I've ever been. And I guess I just keep raising the bar for myself as to what can be, an even richer performance. I think that's the hardest for me.
I'm going to ask you something that I really trust your answer on, and I think it's really important to share, because in a day and age where we're all striving for equality in so many ways, be 100% honest with us. Do you still feel it's harder to be a woman in showbiz than to be a man? Or do you think that things have gotten better?
It's not 100% equal in pay, but I will say what I have loved about the daytime genre is they really love strong women, and they write for strong women. And I think in all the, I guess it has changed more, that you see a lot more women as leads. And it used to be that if a woman hit 40, forget it, you were done. And now it's not. I mean, if you see the Truman Capote and the Swans, everybody was over 50. Yeah. And on my show, you have a lot of the leads who are over 50 and 60. And we're written just as we were 30 years ago, which is pretty extraordinary.
That's great. There's a woman, you can Google her, you won't know her when I tell you her name. I was her dentist until she passed when she was in her 90s. She was the biggest star that MGM ever made. Her name was Esther Williams. And Esther Williams was an Olympic diver, and she was so big that MGM built an Olympic-sized swimming pool on the lot. And if you look at old Esther Williams films, this is where the whole water ballet thing, I mean, they had these huge fires and this. And
synchronized swimming.
Yeah, I mean, she was the biggest star MGM ever had. She was incredible. She could sing and dance. In fact, trivial note, Esther Williams is the only star MGM ever had who had 2 dressing rooms. You know why?
One from out of the pool and one before the pool?
You're right. Wet days and dry days. Because on wet days, they literally covered her body in Vaseline. That's how they got her hair to stay in place while she was underwater.
She was
with Vaseline. And I had the honor of Esther was my first big celebrity patient. I had the honor of treating her all the way until she passed. And if you read her book, she said when she was 29 years old, she was filming her biggest film. It's called $1 Million Mermaid. And it was a huge, huge, huge hit for MGM. And all of the big executives from MGM called her into the studio and said, Esther, we just want to tell you how incredibly proud we are of you and the amazing career you've had. She goes, what do you mean, had? They said, well, Esther, this is your last film. She goes, what do you mean it's my last film? I'm your biggest star. They said, Esther, you're 29.
Isn't that crazy?
29. Next month you'll be 30, and nobody wants a middle-aged mermaid.
Oh my God.
Do you know what a huge lawsuit that would be today?
Well, today it could never happen.
It could never happen.
Right.
So, I mean, yes, it's gotten better, but I'm still kind of disturbed. You think that men get paid more than women. Why?
I know they do.
No, I know why.
I would like to know that myself, actually. I mean, when I started, it was right before I met my husband, but we were both building our careers, and he started a new career when we met. So we were both taking care of family. We were both working for our future family. So I didn't feel that he garnered or should garner more wages than me. I put in the same amount of time, did the same amount of pages, did the same job. Why was I paid less?
She meant husband on the show.
Oh, no, I meant husband in real life.
Oh.
You remember him.
Oh, that one? Yeah.
And actually, he's fabulous. So, yeah, I mean, I never understood why there should be any kind of difference. It would be the same as should, and I know we're supposed to, they're wait staff. Like if a female wait staff, should they be paid less than a male wait staff? Is that right? For the same job? No matter what it is you do, there should not be a difference. I think it's the amount of what you put into the job, you know, how long you've been there.
Yeah, totally. I mean, look, we're definitely moving the needle in the right direction, and you know, hopefully we'll get there.
I hope so too. I hope so too.
The other thing I want to talk about is the diversity that you've had in your job. It's not just soaps. You've done TV, you've done QVC, you've done Home Shopping Network.
Right.
Let's talk about that.
So it's probably kind of my brain, and I need to be entertained all the time, so I am interested in a lot of different things. So not only was I working all the time, but then I did some branding deals, the face of Jabot Cosmetics, which was on HSN, which was amazing. I designed my own jewelry line for 5 years on the Canadian Home Shopping. But then I have Airbnbs. I have a horse boarding business at my place in Nashville. And I'm just interested in a lot of different things. And even though they're not exactly in the same wheelhouse as acting, I like to learn a lot of things because I know that I can get in there, I can learn, and I can turn things around. And I think what the most important thing is that I know about myself is I can get out of something if it's not working. And a lot of people feel stuck, but I always have confidence that I can get myself out of it if for some reason I can't figure it out.
And I'll tell you something else. So Julian's dad came to me and said, Dr. Bill, we want to put you on QVC. Well, I'm not an actor. I'm a dentist, right? And I had never seen QVC or Home Shopping Network in my life. So I turned it on. And I'm like, I can't do that. So I called Rami. Rami was my media trainer who I worked with, you know, the one who trains the kids on American Idol. I said, hey, Rami, they want me to go on Home Shopping and QVC. You know, can you help me? She goes, absolutely. We'll do a training program. Okay, this is how it works. When you're on QVC or Home Shopping, you're in a studio with no people. There are 3 cameras. 1, 2, 3.
Even more. There's like up to 5.
In my studio, there were 3. For you, they have 5. You're much prettier than me, okay? They only need a few angles on me. So there's 3 cameras, and then...
But there's no cameramen.
There's no cameramen. So, and then there's 4 monitors. 1, 2, 3, 4 in between the cameras. You know which camera's on because it has a red light on top. That's the only way you know. Now, while you're doing this, you're wearing in-ears. I've never worn in-ears in my life. So, as I'm talking, they're talking to me, telling me stuff.
And it's the worst because I come from a very quiet medium. So when I'm shooting, you could hear a pin drop, right? So now all of a sudden I'm doing HSN and I'm trying to do the pitch. And I originally said during HSN school, I think you're going to have to turn off the booth because I can hear them. And they said, no, you have to be able to hear them. So I'm giving my pitch and I went, did somebody just ask for a bagel in the booth? I mean, I'm
Right.
like,
This is what's
very
happening.
hard.
So, screen number 1 shows you a flashing image. What is that? That flashing image is what they're going to cut to. Okay? So, screen number 2 shows you what people see at home. Screen number 1 shows a flashing image so you know what they're going to cut to, right? Screen number 3 is very interesting. It shows calls coming in, and then screen number 4 shows sales. Okay, so they put me on Home Shopping Network to sell BreathRx, breath products, right? And so we do a demo where we have this giant gross tongue, and I use this giant tongue scraper, and I'm scraping off all this brown gunk. It's disgusting, right? And all of a sudden, everything's lighting up. And they're like, Doc, keep talking about it. I'm like, I didn't know what else to say, you know? Like, do the demo again. I'm like, okay, give me the brown spray stuff. So, I mean, so I sold out every time I was on the show. Why? Practice makes. I practiced and practiced and practiced, and I had to learn how to do this and listen to the bagel thing and da-da-da. I mean, it was not easy. And had I not rehearsed that, I'm sure I would have bombed on there, because it's not
Very hard. Even
it's
with a lot
not
of
like
experience.
drilling a tooth.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, give me a tooth, I'll drill it. But that, no.
No,
But
with a lot of
in the same respect, I sold like almost $200,000 in product in an hour. Where else can you do that?
Oh my God, I can finally beat you at one thing.
Really? You had a more expensive product, jewelry. I had
Oh, we
mouthwash.
sold 600,000 every 45 minutes
Wow.
with Jabot. It was pretty extraordinary.
That's
The
why
only
she's who
time.
she is.
It's the only time I've been able to beat you at anything.
You had something you wanted to share with my students.
I did. I just wrote a few things that I wanted to share with you. And every ending is the start of a new beginning. Every defeat gets you closer to winning. How can you love the peaks if you've never seen the valleys? Under the lights, the start of your life, this is the time to go into the unknown. We talk about the unknown in acting a lot, but I think about it in career. Don't be afraid to be uncomfortable, to go into that unknown. This is the moment to make your move. This is your moment, your time to prove. It's your time. Make mistakes and make them big, because you will know. And knowing what you don't want is as powerful and important as what you do want. Find your passion. Try on many hats. Live large. Love big. And don't try, just do. Sing and dance. And even if it's in your underwear, and hopefully not on TikTok, or in the shower, which is my personal amphitheater, I hope your dreams take you to the corners of your smiles, to the highest of your hopes, and to the windows of your opportunities, and to the most special places your heart has ever known. I like to say something to myself, and I say, je suis prêt, which you know is, I am ready.
Thank you. Thank you, Tracey.
Thank you. So wonderful to see you all. Have the most wonderful week.